Today on FAR180, I'm going to be answering the question why providing evidence to defend the Christian faith is so important. There are aggressive intellectual predators in high schools and universities whose goal it is to convert Christians to atheists. Our children need a foundation of faith and reason, of truth and evidence to be able to defend why they believe what they believe. Today I'm going to give you a business comparison in how successful businesses respond to surveys and focus groups, as well as a courtroom example in how lawyers use evidence to prove or disprove a claim. If you are a leader in your church, you do not want to miss this video. Welcome to FAR180, where we explore evidence for God and Christianity, connect the hearts and the minds, and change attitudes 180 degrees. Today's video we're going to be discussing why faith and reason 180. But why is it important? Well, like I spoke in our introductory video, we were discussing about apologetics. And apologetics comes from the Greek word apologia, which means to make a legal defense for. And that's what making a defense of our faith is in apologetics. So why faith and reason? Well, I think C.S. Lewis sums it up best. C.S. Lewis was a very famous writer in the 20th century who was most famous for his books called The Chronicles of Narnia, which sold hundreds of millions of copies, and a series of movies about. But he was a staunch atheist who came to the faith through evidence, through making a connection between his mind and his heart. He said, quote, "If Christianity is not true, it's of no relevance. But if it is, it's of infinite importance." Think about it. I give talks on this topic, evidence for God and Christianity, and especially when I give this talk to young people. And I give them this quote. I say, think about it. If it's not true, it's of no relevance. But if it is, it's of infinite importance. Death, judgment, heaven, hell, a separation from God, an accountability for our lives. If it is true, what could be more important? And what's interesting is the reaction, especially from young people, is that they want to hear this, but in most cases they're not hearing this. So why FAR180? The answer is simple, because if it is true, what could be more important? You know, some people will say to me, I don't need evidence, I believe on faith. And my response to them is, well, good for you. I feel glad for you. I wasn't that way. Neither was C.S. Lewis. And neither was a lot of people that need to come to the conversion in their heart through their mind. There's been many surveys that have been done over the last number of years asking people why they have left the church. There's a Times of London survey, a Pew Research survey, and a apostolate at Georgetown survey that asked people why they left the church. Almost 50% of the people said they left the church because they don't believe. And that when asked why, most said because they felt that there was no evidence. They think it's like Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy. There was also a very startling survey recently done by St. Mary's Press in Minnesota called Going, Going, Gone. Look it up. It was a survey done of primarily young people between 15 and 25, asking them why they left the church. Most say they'll never return, and it's because they don't believe. Back to the surveys. Why is this important? If there is plenty of evidence, let's compare this to a business. If any business conducted focus groups and surveys about why their business was failing, and in every survey and focus group it came back to being the same number one reason why people weren't buying anymore, don't you think they'd address it? Like, seriously, of course they would. So in the church, we know this, and we know there's plenty of evidence. Pope Leo XIII wrote about it in 1885 that there's plenty of evidence. He wrote extensively on the topic. If you read the Gospels and the Acts of the Apostles, they clearly used apologetics and evidence as to how to build the church. Apologetics is an ingredient that was used. Yes, it's the teachings, it's love, it's repentance, it's mercy, but it's also evidence. We are a religion that is based on faith and reason. When Jesus or the apostles would cure someone, raise someone from the dead, you get like thousands of people that would say, man, I'm following, I believe. So the need for evidence is nothing new. And like I said, any business would respond to the number one reason with a solution. And we have the solution. There's plenty of evidence. The other example I want to give you is a courtroom. Have you ever been to court or watched a court case? And you see the prosecution attorney gets up, addresses the jury, and says, I think that Christianity, we'll use that as the example, is guilty. And it's guilty because there's no evidence and it's been nothing but a means to subjugate cultures over the centuries. And it's nothing more than the tooth fairy. And so the jury listens to the prosecution condemn Christianity. And then the jury open-mindedly listens. And that jury is our family, our children, our loved ones, and our friends. And they're listening to the prosecution, which is Hollywood, which is our secular society. And all of a sudden then the defense attorney gets up. And the defense attorney faces the jury and says, Christianity is true. And gives no evidence. Says, just because I have faith. Well, what do you suppose the jury's going to do? They're going to find Christianity guilty. Because they want to see evidence. What kind of a defense attorney is going to go in and say my client is innocent because I believe it? You got to have some evidence. And we're no different. And our church and in the early Christians were no different. Had to present evidence. And there's plenty of it. And as I discussed in our introductory video and gave the list of the various types of evidence, and we're going to give plenty more. So we just need to plant the seeds. St. Peter said it best. Always be prepared to give a defense for the hope that is in you. Be prepared to give a defense. Do you have a 30-second elevator pitch as to why you believe? If you don't, you need to get one. If you're a believer, you need to be able to get a compelling reason for why you're a Christian. The other reason why FAR180 is important is that the other truth about Christianity, it is to heal brokenness. All of us have a brokenness, a shame, a guilt, depressed, a sadness, something that needs healing. And it's through Jesus that you can receive that healing. You only need to ask for it. And you'll be shocked as to what will happen. I've heard it said that the meaning of life is to get to know God and to love God and to serve God. It's my prayer that for those of you who are looking for the truth, you'll find it through the evidence that we're going to be providing on this, as well as the free resource page that you can download for free on FAR180.com, and you'll be able to see a list of individuals and channels and websites and people that are renowned and credible people that you can start your own journey. So, when anybody asks you why you're a Christian, answer is simple. Because it's true. The evidence is beyond any reasonable doubt. If you've enjoyed today's video, please share. Or if you'd like more people to see it, with YouTube's algorithms, hit the thumbs up button and the subscribe button below, and more people will see it. Thank you very much, and God bless.